Welcome to Slash Bash, where today I am bringing you another malicious compliance Reddit video. In our first story, I was moved to the night shift, then denied a raise and told, I don't care how you do your job, just do it. Let's jump right in. I used to work in hotels in a ski town in Colorado. It is a very expensive place to live, but the quality of life, at least that is a very common saying around there. I had started working at a new hotel and was making $10 an hour. At the time, I was living with my brother in a 2-bedroom place that was 700 square feet. Rent was half our income. In a resort town, there are busy holiday times, and then there are slow times when we have very few tourists. When the slow season approached, I was told I would have to move from working normal hours to night audit, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. I could take the job or risk being let go. The problem was I lived 3 miles from the hotel and took the bus to get there, since I couldn't afford a car. The bus did not run at night or early morning, so I would be walking 6 miles a day in several inches to a foot or more of snow. So I asked for a raise. They said they'd get back to me but needed an answer right away. I needed the job, so okay, I'll work night audit. I start the next week as an auditor, and while I'm being trained, I learned that I'm also losing a day. The other auditor works 3 days, and I'll be working 4 days, not 5. That's $320 a month hit to my income before taxes. So I'll need to be making $12.50 an hour to keep making the same thing with the cut hours. But I decide I'm going to ask for $14. I complete training and meet with my general manager. He asks how I'm liking it, and I start off with my concerns. I tell him I wasn't told I'd lose a day, and with having to walk 6 miles a day in the snow, I was going to need a raise to $14 an hour. He let out an audible sigh and tells me he can easily hire someone for this position for $10 an hour and to take it or leave it. I knew it would be very hard to find a job in the winter when everything closes up, so I stayed. As I walked out of his office, he says, I don't care how you do your job, just do it. Okay, I will. You see, this job was easy. It was 7 hours of me doing absolutely nothing and 1 hour of actual work, which gave me plenty of time to find shortcuts. The software we used allowed us to import scripts that you downloaded from the developer's site. One such script was a way to make my job literally one click. The problem was it cost $500 a year license for it. Obviously, I wouldn't propose to my general manager a way to eliminate my job, but there was a free trial on every script for 7 days. I remember at the time you get around paywalls on news websites by going into the web console and simply removing the paywall from the source code. I decided to see if this was something I could do with this script. And what do you know? I downloaded it and opened the script in a text editor, and the only thing making this script a trial was a line that said, license expire, and had the date set 7 days out from when I downloaded it. I changed the computer's date to 8 days from now and tried to run the script in our software and got a notification that said the free trial had ended. So I changed it back and set the expiration date to 2050. This took my manual job of 1 hour and made it 3 to 5 minutes. All I had to do was specify a date range and check off what reports I wanted done and printed and click start. That was it, though I always manually reviewed everything just in case. But that wasn't it. We had a kitchen where we made breakfast and dinner for the guests. Evening shift got free dinner and morning shift got free breakfast. I didn't get anything. They eventually decided to have the auditors set up breakfast so the kitchen crew didn't have to come in as early. I asked if we got free breakfast and was told no, despite setting up everything to make their jobs easier. I should also note that we had to clean any dishes left from dinner that the kitchen didn't get to despite not even getting any dinner. But I had the kitchen all to myself for 6 hours, so I started making myself dinner around 1 a.m., whatever I wanted. The only limits were the ingredients in the kitchen, and since I was responsible for dishes from other shifts, I never left any evidence behind. I no longer had to buy food to bring to work. I later realized that I could put dirty dishes back in the return bin since it was covered and the breakfast crew never checked to see if any dirty dishes were in it, and the very few times they did check, they assumed dinner forgot to check before leaving. I always cleaned up the dishes I used making myself food out of fairness, though. So now my job no longer requires me to do dishes. I get free food, and all I have to do is remember the date and click a button to do my actual job. What am I going to do with all this time? I watched so many shows. I played online games on my laptop. I started learning Spanish. The general manager did say he didn't care how I did my job, just do it, and so I did. I did eventually decide to move away for a much better job far away and had to give up the comfy life. I trained my replacement the way I was doing things, including the script, and did not teach him the manual way. Before I left though, I decided to change the trial date to 1 week out. 2 days after my last day, the front desk manager texts me and tells me that the other auditor was just fired for making racist remarks to a guest. That guest recorded him, so he was immediately fired once the general manager got in. The front desk manager asked me if I could come back until they got someone else and said they'd pay me $15 an hour. Unfortunately, I was leaving in 2 days, so there was no way. I got a call from the general manager at about 5 a.m. the day of the expiration. He asked about this free trial thing and wanted to know why the new guy hadn't been trained how to do the audit properly. The new guy was apparently working 7 days a week, since no one else knew the audit except the new guy and of course me. I reminded the general manager that he told me he didn't care how I did my job, just to do it, so I did exactly that. I could tell he wanted to yell, but he held back. He then demanded I come back and fix it or he'll have to take legal action. I told him I had already moved to my new place 2,000 miles away, but I would happily do it. All it would cost was airfare, a free room, free meals while I'm there, and 10 grand. That was when he lost it and I hung up on him. Afterwards, he texted me saying he was contacting the company lawyers, that I'd messed up, and that I should be prepared to face the consequences. That was 5 years ago, and I haven't heard anything from him since. I did eventually go back to that town a few months ago to see my mom and ran into the front desk manager from that place, who is a really nice guy. He told me the general manager was caught having sex with the head housekeeper in his office by his wife one day. His wife later divorced him. The 19-year-old girl working the front desk in the mornings later filed sexual harassment charges against him, and he had to resign after that. The assistant general manager jumped ship immediately after that. I am not sure what happened to the general manager after that. The front desk manager now runs the place as the new general manager. For some reason, he's made sure that he, the assistant general manager, and the front desk manager are all trained on how to do the audit. This is John from Slashbash. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed the video and want to be the first to know when the next one drops, then subscribe and hit that notifications bell. I would love for you to drop a like, share it with your friends, and I'll see you in the next one.